Hey there, everyone. This is Samuel Johnson, and welcome back to the Alien Force Retrospectives. And today we're going to be looking at episode 17 of Ben 10 Alien Force, Save the Last Dance. And in this episode, the episode starts with Ben riding home on his bike when suddenly a couple kids in a car start whizzing by. They've lost control of the car. They can't slow it down. The brakes are shot. Pretty much they're in danger. So Ben goes big chill, and he manages to save them. Which they're grateful for until he actually starts to take a few bites out of the car, which even the kids start to object to. He starts to, they're wondering what the heck are you doing? And in response, Ben roars at them. However, cue the opening theme, and then we cut to the next day, and turns out Ben remembers none of this. He later says that the last thing he remembers is slapping down on the Omnitrix, and that's it. He doesn't remember a thing after that. And what makes it even scarier is that he's found a chunk of metal in his teeth. So he's starting to wonder what's going on, though I'm wondering how the chunk of metal didn't cut his gums. But at the same time, however, it turns out Gwen's prep school is holding a dance, and Gwen tricks Kevin into asking her out, which Kevin's now nervous about that, and he wants to figure out what's going on. And he wants to figure out what's going on to the point where he actually does not realize Ben needs help when Ben asks and says, "Hey, I think something's up with my powers." As such, because of that, Ben goes to Julie and asks, "I need some help. Can you help me out here?" And so Julie says that maybe there's a way that she can. And so that night, she has a notebook out and is going to record everything Ben does while alien. So Ben obliges and so he gets the Omnitrix ready and tries to go jet ray, but the Omnitrix instead turns him back into Big Chill. And so Julie follows him around to the first appearance of Burger Shack. No, I think it was called I forgot what it was called. I'm just gonna call it Burger Shack because that's really all I can remember, because that's what Julie calls it. But and when he gets there, like with the car, Ben starts eating everything metal. A tray that a waitress brought food on, another tray that a customer is using, the order boxes. It's like a Sonic. You have to order via drive-thru or outside. He even starts eating the Burger Shack mascot. Pretty much he just seems to be eating everything metal. And once again, Julie tries to follow him. Julie tries to follow him, but Ben winds up giving her the slip. So the next and again, it cuts to the next morning. Ben finds himself out in the desert, outside a little crater with all these metal edgings in him. And once again, he doesn't remember a thing. So he comes back to the house. He goes back to his house, and he ends up eating an entire jar of pickles. And at the same time, Kevin comes by asking for advice on the dance, while Ben is still concerned about the Omnitrix. But Ben kind of obliges to Kevin and lends him one of his grandfather's old tuxes, even teaching him how to tie a knot and giving him some good advice about what to do when they get to the dance, and tells him not to be too nervous. As such, Kevin actually does do some good. Actually, does go out of his way. He gets some yellow roses, which Gwen likes, and even gets a blue corsage But in the meantime, Ben catches up with Julie because he is actually worried about her, and she was worried about him, and she begins to explain to him what happened when he went alien, that he turned into Big Chill, and Ben is actually getting a little worried about this. And here's something that they reference twice in the episode, that this is actually like what happened with Ghost Freak, and you can kind of see the resemblance. Big Chill's kind of a ghostly alien, and well, it's in the name for Ghost Freak. So he's getting concerned that something's wrong with him, that maybe something's up, but Julie says that she'll be with him, but as they're having this heartfelt moment, Ben seems to go into a trance, and he turns back into Big Chill. And only this time he attacks a foundry and starts eating all the metal. Likewise, when Kevin goes to pick up Gwen and they're driving to her fancy school dance, and him in a tux, her in a strapless white dress, Kevin starts telling her about all this stuff, that she likes yellow roses and all this good dating advice, and Gwen's finding it suspicious. Very suspicious, since it's Ben. Most of the time, he does not give a lot of good advice. He can be a good leader, maybe, but it's still Ben. And he can be kind of a lunkhead. As such, things are just getting worse and worse, and so she realizes something's probably up with Ben. As such, And it's even confirmed when Julie calls in that says that that Ben is Big Chill is just going crazy, and that something and that nothing stop, and that for some reason he's attacking a foundry. And so as Gwen and Kevin ditch the dance to track him, Gwen mentions the ghost freak thing again. That maybe just ghost aliens are inherently evil, and and I admit it's actually a very good mystery, and it does have an actually very interesting payoff. So Gwen, Kevin, and Julie managed to find Ben outside the crater that Ben woke up in before. Only now he's somehow built this giant metal structure, and when the group gets close to him, he just snarls at them and attacks. Especially when Kevin starts absorbing metal and he starts actually eating through the armor. However, the group thinks to realize that whatever's going on with Ben has something to do with the structure, so they approach it. Kevin tries to smash it, and he winds up just getting some weird gunk on him. And from the gunk, these bubbles seem to pop out, these blue bubbles, and it turns out they're little Big Chills, just babies, pretty much. And this is actually where we learn what was going on with Ben this whole time. He was pregnant. Specifically, Big Chill was pregnant. This is, as such, when the little aliens fly away, by the way, this is also the episode where we learn the name of Big Chill's species, Necrophrygians. When Ben turns back, once again, he doesn't remember what's going on, so the group explains it to him, that apparently that Ben was pregnant, and it turns out Necrophrygians lay eggs every 80 years, and then when the babies hatch, they go fly out into space and feed on feed on excess energy. And I forgot what it was. I think stray something plasm. I don't remember. I don't remember. Remember someone explained it to me, but I don't. Anyway, pretty much that was the reason That was pretty much what was going on with Ben. That Big Chill was pregnant this whole time, and of course, and thus was acting on cravings and so forth. The metal was eating metal, putting together this hatchery. Actually, that was actually the reason why Ben's been acting up, and why he was able to give good advice and crave pickles and started craving pickles. It's actually rather interesting. And so Julie decides to give Ben a ride home. Gwen's kind of sad because they missed the dance, but Kevin puts on some music in the car, and they dance out, and they dance in the area with the lights of his car providing illumination. It's actually a rather cute ending, and I think, honestly, that's what makes this episode good. Interaction. I think, partly. If it's not apparent yet, I really like this episode. Even as a kid, I do remember enjoying the episode a lot when I was young, and it holds up extremely well. In this case, first off, one of the things that I like is the whole mystery with Big Chill, and the writers of this episode do acknowledge this stuff with Ghost Freak, that Ben experienced something like this with Ghost Freak, and you're kind of starting to wonder, is Big Chill going through the same thing? And even wonder that in the show, because Big Chill's a ghost alien, Ghost Freak's a ghost alien. In both cases, it's actually kind of creepy, especially with the way they react. Ghost Freak, straight out evil, so you got that, but with Big Chill, he's actually not doing anything. He's telling people to go away, and he only attacks people that attack him. Yeah, he's hostile, but you don't understand why. And you just know it has something to do with Big Chill. And unlike with Ghost Freak, he doesn't seem to be wanting to get out of the Omnitrix. He's just doing stuff. It's a good mystery that has the same kind of thrill to it with Ghost Freak, only in this case the reason behind everything isn't as malevolent. It's actually pretty interesting. It's actually a very interesting take. And on top of that, there's another thing that I like about this episode, and that's the character interaction. We see more. First, it's kind of the relationships growing between all the characters. First up, there's Ben and Kevin. In the beginning of Alien Force, Ben and Kevin weren't exactly on friendly terms. They were working together, but they were still a little hostile towards each other because when they were kids, they fought, and Kevin was the bad guy. But in this episode's case, we kind of see how they're willing to go. I mean, Kevin is still kind of a doofus in his own regard, but in this case, when he realizes he's taking Gwen to this dance, he's freaking out. He wants to impress her. He wants to make a good impression, and while he seems oblivious to Ben's concerns, which is kind of stupid on his part, what I think works is that when he wants advice, he goes to Ben, asks him he needs his help. It's actually it's really nice. He's talking with him, and even Ben is willing to oblige and helping him. It's rather nice. I like seeing that. It just shows that how at what point their relationship, how far they've turned from enemy, how far there are between enemies and allies. And I like that. It's really nice. On top of that, speaking of relationships, the stuff with Ben and Julie and Kevin and Gwen. In Ben and Julie's case, Ben goes to her, and for Ben and Julie, when Kevin turns into a bust, Ben goes to Julie, and she's very supportive. She's very friendly, and we see more of her studious personality as her method to try and catalog everything that Big Chill did was to write everything down in a notebook. I like that. She's there for Ben. She understands what he's going through. She wants to help him. It's really nice, and I like it. This being the episode right before we see a little bit more tension in their relationship. It's rather nice. It's some more developing of that, and it's cute. And then finally, there's the stuff with Gwen and Kevin, and this is just adorable. It's freaking adorable. Just to see when Gwen, Gwen tricked Kevin into asking her to the dance. Is it protoplasm? I think no. Maybe protoplasm. I don't know. I think it was protoplasm, but don't quote me on that. Anyway, sorry. I'm still thinking about the stuff with Big Chill's babies. But anyway, it turns out that, well, I love seeing Gwen and Kevin kind of working. Kevin is putting in all this effort to try and come off like a gentleman, to try and be the guy that he thinks Gwen kind of wants for this dance, and I like that, especially with how desperate he is, to the point where he is just desperate to talk to Ben, even, and though he's also dumb enough to be oblivious to everything what Ben's going through. And I kind of like that. And even when he actually does when they get to the dance, he thinks when Gwen says she can't go in there, they have to take care of Ben. Kevin thinks he's screwed up, but then Gwen tells him exactly what happened. And even the ending. It's just adorable. It's just adorable seeing them dance in the moonlight. It's a sweet ending, and I like that. It's really fun and it's really nice. And again, while it has all the sappy stuff, it still has the mystery with Ghost Freak, and it's still got Big Chill. I'm sorry. It still has the mystery with Big Chill, and it's still got plenty of action, especially when you see Big Chill being hostile. Even going back to the Foundry scene, as Big Chill's tearing the place apart, you see some cops show up who for some reason have lasers instead of standard guns, and I guess it's because of the kid show, but whatever. And they try and shoot him, and well, Big Chill is hostile. He's actually kind of creepy in this regard, and he is creepy. The way he speaks, like when he's at the Burger Shack, when he wants this guy's tray, he just tells him to scram. And when people get close to him, he tells them, "Leave me alone." Or even when he's kind of being hot, and even when he's confronting the cops, it's like he's gleeful in what he's doing. And in some ways, it makes sense. In some ways it kind of makes sense because some of it's kind of Ben. Like Ben's blacking out, obviously, and Big Chill's the one that's acting on it. But some of it's Ben being like he's just desperate, like he needs to do this, so that's why he's being hostile. But when he gets into the zone and starts fighting, he starts quipping and kind of getting cocky. I like that in some regard. And I do like that. It still has cool action, seeing them work off each other. There's even the humor with Kevin just trying to make it all work. I just love that. It's really funny. Really fun. It's just really nice. And I love how they do kind of hint at the ultimate reveal with Big Chill. I do like that. It's a very good episode. I think the biggest strengths are the mystery with Big Chill, which does make you evoke that minds, which isn't related enough to Ghost Freak, but has a nice twist. But has the nice twist with the ending, so that you realize, so that it goes off on its own, and it's really nice. I love the stuff with Gwen and Kevin, and how their relationship is continuing to grow. I love seeing Ben and Julie work off each other, and work off each other and be nice. It's a really nice episode. It's adorable. It's got great action, a great mystery. I like it. It's a very good episode. I think that's really all I can say. It's a very good episode. Probably one of my favorites on the show. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch it. If you're watching the episodes while watching these, go watch it right now. Just go. Or if you haven't seen it, watch it again. It's a very good episode. I like it. I recommend it. I guess that's really all I have to say. Just good, very good episode. So, yeah, that's it. So, yeah. Thank you for watching. I'm Samuel Johnson, and tune in next week where we look at the return of a character from like one episode of the classic series. So, yeah. Thank you for watching. I'm Samuel Johnson, and I hope this bad lighting will maybe, and hope you can tolerate the bad lighting. So, yeah. See you next week. Take care.